Hello students, you are welcome to Estkupwara. Here we are continuing with the chapter Animal Reproduction from 8th Biology with lecture 4 and our subtopic being today the fertilization. I have given the glimpse of this chapter in the previous lectures. For example, we have read about reproduction, types of reproduction, modes of reproduction, and somehow we have touched the fertilization. Also, now I will make your concepts clear in this topic. What actually the fertilization means? Fertilization means the fusion of male gamete and the fusion of female gamete to form a diversified zygote. That's actually what fertilization is. How you will understand now, here male female organism, this is the male organism, this is the female organism. You will keep in mind that we are talking about the sexual reproduction, because fertilization does not exist in this asexual reproduction. It's only the property of this sexual reproduction. Here in sexual reproduction we need male and female organism. Males have the primary sexual organs as testes, and females have the primary sexual organs as ovaries. I have discussed all this in detail in your previous chapter, reaching the age of adolescence, in the winter session. We have discussed all this. Unfortunately, those who were not present in the winter session, they will feel it somehow difficult to understand. Now, males have the primary sexual organs as testes, females have the primary sexual organs as ovaries. Primary sexual organs mean those sexual organs which are present at birth. Those are called as primary sexual organs, and secondary sexual organs are those which are acquired at the age of maturity, puberty. They are called as secondary sexual organs. Now, the males have testes which form sperms. These sperms are cells, male sex cells are called as sperms. They are formed inside the testes, and the female ovaries form the egg cells. Egg cells are the female sex cells. Female sex cells, male sex cells. The sex cells are those cells which are involved in the process in the sexual fertilization. When these cells fuse with each other, they form a diversified cell that's called as zygote. All our cells have a genetic constitution. We have 46 chromosomes in each cell, but what nature has planned for these two cells, the germinal cells of our body, they are egg cells, and sperm cells, they doesn't have 46 chromosomes, but they have 23 chromosomes, and the sperm also has 23 chromosomes. All other somatic cells in our body have 46 chromosomes. Now, when these will fuse, 23 will fuse with 23, they will form 46 chromosomes, and this zygote becomes a well developed cell with 46 chromosome content, and 46 chromosomes contain all those genes, all that information which is needed for the development of an individual. And now this was the concept of fertilization, where the fusion of male gamete, that is sperm, with the female gamete, that's egg cell. This is especially the fusion of their nucleus, which contains the genetic material, because each cell has a nucleus which contains the genetic material, and also these gametes have the nucleus, because they are also the cells. So when these nuclei fuse, they form the zygote. Now there are two types of fertilization: external fertilization and internal fertilization. Type 1 is external fertilization and type 2 is internal fertilization. Type 1 fertilization, external fertilization, takes place outside the body of female. It doesn't take place inside the body of female. Example is here fish and frogs. In fish and frogs, the fertilization, the sexual act, does not take place inside the body of female. It doesn't need and the intimate connection between the two organisms, but it takes place outside the body of female. How this process actually occurs: here is the female frog. Now try to understand. Here is the female frog. Female frog laid eggs in water. This is the water blue colored, and the female frog has laid her eggs, and these eggs now remain in the water. They have some chemicals in them. Those chemicals diffuse in the water and attract the male frog towards it. The male frog also lays sperms in the water. It sheds its sperms in the water, and these eggs attract by their chemicals this sperm towards them, and the fusion of sperm and egg here forms the zygote. This is called as external fertilization, because this fertilization took place in the water, not inside the inside the body of female frog. Now this zygote will form first the tadpole. It will not directly form the adult frog, because in these organisms the development is indirect development. In humans, the development is direct. We are born humans. Human baby is born as human baby. He is not born as anything else and then it changes into humans. No. But here what happens when the fusion takes place, zygote is formed, the tadpole forms first. This is the first stage in frog's life, and that's called as larval stage. This one, tadpole. And this tadpole does not resemble in any way to the adult frog, and then some transition occurs from this larval stage to adult, towards the adulthood, and then the adult frog is formed. This I will discuss in the next topic here, that's called as metamorphosis. That's the different topic. Now here you will try to understand the types of fertilization. In external fertilization is that fertilization which takes place outside the female body, and it takes place mainly in fishes, in frogs. And I have also made you clear here how this actually occurs, and this development is called as indirect development. And next one is the internal fertilization, which takes place, that type of fertilization where the fusion of egg and sperm occurs inside the body of female. It's called as internal fertilization. Internal in and inside the body, and external outside the body. This occurs in humans, dogs, cows, and many more other species, especially in humans, especially in animals, so internal fertilization, you will remember here, is that type of fertilization where the fusion of male and female gamete takes place inside the body of female. And now here is the concept of metamorphosis. What metamorphosis is here, I have told you that the fusion of this frog egg and sperm leads to development of tadpole, and then it becomes adult frog. Now this is this is the same concept here. Metamorphosis, transition from larval stage to adult stage through sequence of changes. When you will see the frog tadpole, it has no legs, but in adult frog you will see the full-fledged legs. It has no webbed feet, but in the adult frog there are webbed feet. In the adult frog there is head, differentiated, there is trunk, and there are legs differentiated. Forelimbs and hind limbs can be seen in adult frog, but they are not seen in the larva of the frog. This is the larva of the frog, that is tadpole. It has tail, but adult frog doesn't have a tail. So it is totally different from the adult frog. Then sequence of changes occur in this larval, in the body of this larva, and then it acquires the shape of the adult frog and it becomes the adult frog. This transition from the larval stage, this change, transfer from the larval stage towards the adulthood, it is called as metamorphosis. And we have read about, in today's lecture we have read about the fertilization, we have read about these cells, sperm cells and egg cells. We have read about these types of fertilization, external and internal, frog being the basic example both in external fertilization and in the metamorphosis. In our next lecture, inshallah, we will deal with the female and male reproductive system. Okay.